episode 8 of the What's Cookin' podcast. Today, we bring on a Franklin Middle School legend, Julian Klepach. A great friend of mine. We had some wild stories, some crazy experiences. Let's take a listen. Here we go. What's cooking, everyone? Welcome back. We are live here with episode 8 of the podcast. Today, I am reconnecting with a man that I had some great times with in middle school. He is a fellow University of Iowa graduate in the class of 2022. He is a rap battle legend when we were starting to stand outside in the morning waiting for school to start. This is Julian Klepach.
Hey, what's up, Brandon? What a good intro. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Appreciate it, man. How's life going for you recently, man? How's it like finishing up college, getting out into the real world? How you been doing?
Life's going well. I've been grinding on that 9-to-5 life.
Okay.
It's kind of an interesting transition because, you know, you get out of school and you're like, oh, it's finally done. And then, like for me, I was kind of sitting around for a few weeks and then I got a job that I really liked. But, what was I saying? It was just like a crazy transition going from literally doing nothing, boom, right into 40 hours a week. So we're living life. I love where I work right now. And
good.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Awesome. And you were major in marketing, right?
Yep.
So Tippy College of Business and everything?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Tippy College of Business.
I started in Tippy, I don't know if you knew this, as business analytics. And then my freshman year, the data science major was like released for the first time.
Yeah.
And so that's actually College of Liberal Arts and Sciences.
Oh.
So I ended up...
Is that what you do?
That's what I ended up doing. So I had like the introduction to Tippy as a freshman, and then I just kind of like... ended up being something else. But I still come here to study. I still like...
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, we're in Tippy right now recording this. So
we're in Tippy.
Pretty cool. But
I didn't know because I know you work at the bank and stuff, so I was like, maybe you're a finance major? I thought I'd seen you in Tippy before, but...
Yep, and I've had a few classes here, and then also when I did Crypto Club, we had our meetings here.
This is the best place to have that.
It is. It's nice, yeah. But I didn't really get into finance much until the pandemic. I started... Obviously, we all got sent home and classes were online and everything. I just was so bored. I was looking up YouTube videos, like getting into stocks and crypto and stuff. So that's like the first time.
Crypto's a whole rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Michael Molina?
I feel like I've heard the name.
He was friends with us in high school. That's kind of where he got into the fold. But he really exposed me and like our friend group to cryptocurrency. I want to say like Christmas of 2018, I bought my first cryptocurrency.
Wow.
So he's been in the game.
Okay.
Not to say, he's made some missteps along the way, but he's at least known about it.
That's cool.
Heck yeah.
I feel like I heard about crypto in high school, and I never really bothered to like look into it, and then it started getting popular, I think, early 2021 with like the GameStop fiasco and Dogecoin and everything. That's
Dude, I made a little bit of come up off of Dogecoin.
Okay.
That was... not a lot, but it was like, I doubled my money and it was It was nice, but...
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
So you are in the Iowa City area right now?
Yep, I still live in Iowa City and I commute to CR every day.
Oh, really?
So like 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back.
Okay.
Not bad, but
yeah.
I'm gripping onto my childhood and my youth by staying here. But everybody at my job is like, you're going to move back to Cedar Rapids. You're going to hate that commute. And I'm like, no, like...
Yeah.
Then I'm an adult fully, and I'm scared to do that.
That's true, yeah. And
I'm commuting.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that drive too because obviously we both from Cedar Rapids.
Yep.
And, I considered doing that for Green State, just like living at home and coming to North Liberty at a ton. But I ended up finding a place, thankfully, in North Liberty. So
nice. I'm
kind of like right in between the two. So
nice.
Yeah, it's not a bad setup. But. We're probably going to take it chronologically here, as always. So we're going to go from the beginning, kind of work our way through, and then where we met, and then your experiences since then. So I met you in Cedar Rapids, but I'm curious to know, is that where you were born, or you
born and raised Cedar Rapids?
My man, same here.
Sir. Cedar Rapidians. We put on for our city.
Have you heard the song Cedar Rapids Won't Let You Down?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and that video is legendary because he's in downtown Cedar Rapids filming it, and I'm just like, wow, like finally someone's, because here's the thing, people will get famous from Iowa. My friends and I talk about this. Ashton Kutcher is the only one who will be like representing Iowa.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Jason Momoa, he doesn't put on for Iowa. He puts on for Hawaii. He was born here though.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of people like that where people just, you know, Iowa has a brain drain problem. And so I want to shout out Ashton Kutcher for just keeping it real.
That's right. And he was on the College Game Day last year with Lee Corso and had him put on the Herky head. So
what? I didn't see that.
It was Lee Corso made the headgear pick,
Okay.
and then Ashton Kutcher was like right there with him, like wearing the Hawkeye shirt and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love it, man. So elementary school. Where did you go to elementary school?
So I actually went to 5 different elementary schools.
5.
I started at Hiawatha, then I went to Nixon, and then I went to Kenwood, elementary school that's now torn down. It was called McKinstry. I lived in Waterloo for maybe half a year.
Wow.
And so 3rd grade I went to 3 schools. So I went to what was that? Kenwood, and then I went to McKinstry, and then I went to Madison, and then stayed at Madison, and then on to Franklin.
Wow. That is the world tour of elementary schools.
For real.
I think you might have hit every single one except the one I went to, which was Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
I think they renamed Jackson or something, and they think that they're going to tear it down in the future or something, which is kind of disappointing because we loved it there.
Well, because I remember Polk was an elementary school kind of near Jackson, right? That kind of got torn down.
I don't know how near it is to Jackson, but I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're redoing the district and everything, and I don't know if you heard there was like a cyber attack in the district.
I did hear
where,
about
like,
this.
A ton of like access and passwords and stuff got leaked and stuff.
Crazy.
So CRCSD is struggling a little right now.
Well, they were interviewing students and parents about it, and they were like, "Yeah, I mean, we don't really know how this affects us." Like they kind of just didn't care, but yeah.
Oh,
so hopefully that doesn't fall back on anybody.
Yeah, man, they gotta take some precautionary measures.
They gotta put that on the blockchain to secure that.
Yes, absolutely. So I remember end of 5th grade. So the way Jackson was is it was almost half and half people going to Franklin and then Taft.
Okay.
And so I kind of was able to like see which friends were coming with me to Franklin, which friends were coming with me to Taft. And the main difference I always heard from people like my older brother and friends and stuff is that there's no recess in middle school, which is like a huge change. And then also you have to choose an instrument to play in band and stuff and everything. Yep. So I'm just curious, like, how did you kind of go through that transition, like choosing an instrument and like all the changes that were going on there?
So I actually toured Harding.
Really?
I was supposed to go to Harding just from where I was living, and then I had moved. And then, we chose Franklin because it was closer to where we had moved.
Okay.
But Harding actually had this like gas leak scare a couple weeks.
Yeah, I feel like I heard about it in the
I don't
cafeteria.
Know,
or
yeah,
something.
and I don't know if that was while we were at Franklin or what, but I just remember hearing about that, and I was like, oh, I made the right choice. But,
take that, Harding.
Yeah, exactly. Not dealing with recess, that was probably pretty tough for me. I was like, how am I going to do this? But I loved Franklin, and being able to compare it to Harding, like I just liked the layout more. It was just more real. Benjamin Franklin was like the first celebrity ever.
Okay.
So shout out to Ben Franklin because
Absolutely.
People knew him like overseas and stuff. Like he was one of the first celebrities ever. Like,
Wow.
You got to look into this.
Wow.
He lived kind of a crazy life, but hearing about that made me proud to be a Bolt.
That's right.
When it came to picking an instrument, I've always been into rap music, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Oh, of course.
But like the main part of rap music to me, what always keeps me coming back, is the drums.
Oh yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do anything, I'll do percussion.
Okay.
Now when I thought about that, I just thought maybe I'd learn drums, but no, that turned into xylophone, the cymbal, and the triangle, and dude, I had a tumultuous history. I'm not sure, because were we in the same band section?
I feel like at some point we were. It might have changed from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but I feel like we had you at some point because it was me, Max, and Jared on tuba. So
oh my gosh, that was legendary.
Hard to forget about that combo.
Well, so in 8th grade, I got kicked out of band every day after the last concert because I had a headache. This is legit. I had a headache every show that year, so I didn't come to any shows. And looking back on it, I feel bad. I wish I would have stayed into it because music's such a bigger part of my life now. I wish I would have cultivated that when I had the chance.
Okay.
But pretty much I was getting kicked out for for not coming to those shows, which
Damn.
I understand. But
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it was Alex Slattery.
Oh, yeah.
He made Ms. Davies mad enough to replace me and him. So now he was going out in the hall, and I got to come back in for the last like week or two.
There you go.
Yeah, that was my band experience.
There it is. Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, it was kind of strict, like the band teacher, like the band vibe, like.
So strict.
I always remember hearing, because I was good friends with Jonah and Ben and Scott were like the baritone players, and they had James Ball on trumpet in their class, and we were in separate classes, so I had to hear the story.
I was in that section.
Okay.
Man, was it funny.
So this is the story I always remember them telling me is that James would come into class and he would sit down in front of like the easel and his music and everything and just sit there with no instrument. And Miss Shanley would be like, James, come on, go get your trumpet. He's like, Miss Shanley, I left my trumpet at home.
yes. Miss Shanley, I left my trumpet at home. Like, he had the most gruff voice as a middle schooler, bro.
And she's like, James, I see it over there on the shelf.
Yeah.
And he's like,
you got me.
You got me. It's just the most crazy stuff.
That class.
We had I forget what year it was, but we had a song called Aruba Tuba, where the tubas like were featured in this one part where we had to do our thing, and it got to the point where Max and Jared were messing it up so bad that she literally told them, just don't play during that point. We'll have Brandon do it.
Oh my god!
And we'll bring in the baritones too, and we'll have them play it too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh, Max and Jared. That's not. In middle school, that's not who you want to lead anything. No offense to them, but they were the most wildest kids.
It was insane. And we started out so we would have band lessons. And I think they would pull you out of class at like certain times a day and you're like, go have your band lesson.
Yep.
And I started out in the same band lesson as them, but eventually they moved me out into my own individual band lesson because I was like, yeah, apparently. But looking back at it, I would have intentionally played worse just to stay with them, just because how fun that was.
Exactly. There were a lot of things I would have done differently. Realizing that middle school did not matter at this point in time, but yeah.
Oh, jeez. So band, obviously, a ton of experiences there. The lunch table was also a classic point to meet up and just talk and mess around and stuff.
Get in trouble. I filmed a bunch of YouTube videos at lunch. Just like they were literally just videos of us like messing around with like forks and throwing chickpeas at each other. The chickpeas were a problem at lunch, dude.
So a couple stories I remember. One of them, I feel like there was an Instagram post at one point. I couldn't find it today, but I had an apple just like on top of my head, and I was just like sitting there trying to see how long I could balance it or something.
That rings a bell.
And then we had, so Ben was on our bus ride home and our certain bus route, and we would, so on half days, they introduced half days where we would like, on like every other Wednesday or something, and they'd have a specific meal where you could like have a choice between like a couple things, and one of them was like a little pack of carrots. So we would talk to everyone at the lunch table that was on our bus ride home, and we would tell them, everyone grab a pack of carrots and save it for Ben on the bus ride home, and we would have Ben collect all the packs of carrots and eat as many as he could on the bus ride home.
Man, a story I have about Ben at lunch is he would get in trouble because he would go up to the topping bar and just scoop a bunch of jalapenos into a napkin, and every time he'd walk back to the table, like half the time you might get Mr. Baylor going, Ben, put those back.
Oh my
God. And he would just scurry away with the jalapenos, like, what are you going to do? Take him out of his head? Too late.
Just, what a time to be alive, man.
Shout out to Mr. Baylor.
Absolutely.
He's actually the principal now.
Of the whole school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
And he deserves it too.
Yeah.
Did you know why he had braces? Did you ever hear about this?
I don't know why. No.
So there's a kid named I'm not gonna say his name.
Okay, we'll leave that off.
But there's a kid who was upset with him and punched him in the face.
Oh my!
And made him get braces.
Oh wow!
He's a Navy SEAL now, so.
Really?
Yeah.
The kid that punched him?
Yes.
Wow.
And he's a very sweet guy. Like I was friends with him in high school because he went to Wash, and I talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, like he was pissing me off, so I punched him in the face.
Wow.
So I was a middle schooler.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him have braces. I never knew the reason why. So,
Yep, there was a backstory to that.
I never knew that. But
Did Mr. Baylor ever yell at you? Did you ever get in trouble by Mr. Baylor?
not personally. I feel like our lunch table definitely was like reprimanded and like had to go last a few times because we were screwing around. But no, never like one-on-one in trouble with him.
The closest thing I got was when he made me. He sees me in the hallway in my pants. I forgot my belt that day, and he waves his finger at me. He goes, "Julian, come here." He's like, "You're gonna go to the office and you're gonna get a zip tie."
Oh,
and so I had to wear a zip tie, and I never forgot my belt again, dude. I had to wear a zip tie.
That's humiliating, man.
For real.
Oh. So, a couple other things from the lunch table. Our good friend Brian Cundy.
Oh, Brian Cundy.
My man would get, so everyone would like get like one chicken patty with like sides and stuff. My man would get 2 chicken patties every time.
He'd always have 2 to 3 trays. There was no single lunch for him. There was no single lunch for Brian.
My man would come bring his plates back, set up, and he would get the chicken patty and he would first like look at it, just like examine it and everything.
Yeah.
But then he would try to eat it in as few bites as possible.
Yes, he would.
I've seen him eat an entire chicken patty in 2 bites.
No.
2 bites. I've seen him do
Guys.
it.
Jesus.
And he would take the pizzas and like fold them up and eat them.
Why?
Like,
What do you do that for? Like, to what? You know, to what purpose?
just showing that he's not to be
True.
messed with.
No,
I think. It's
he was
just
not. He was soft spoken, but he was not to be messed with. He had a cannon.
Oh my goodness, man! Sports and like playing with Brian is just different. I mean,
Yeah.
whew.
Good luck catching the ball. Like, I had gym with him sometimes, and man, it's just like, bro, stop throwing it so hard. Just stop.
You get jam fingers.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and the cold football practices are
Yes.
just you don't want to catch them, man. It's just whew. Let's see. So going back to band, we went to Adventureland our 8th grade year.
Yes, we did. Shout out.
Shout out. We went to like they had like a theme park or water park or something, and we did that before our performance, which I don't know how the scheduling worked out, but I don't think that was a good idea to have that before because
Miss Davies was so mad.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lackluster performance in our band, and I remember like my friends at other middle schools were like, "Yeah, we got ranked like first or second or something."
We didn't give a darn.
Franklin was near the bottom, if
Yeah.
not last.
Yeah.
So they were pretty pissed off at us. But
I forgot my cymbals.
Really?
And somebody had grabbed them for me, and I was just like, and it was somebody I didn't even know, but they just knew I needed cymbals for a song, and shout out them because we got there, and Miss Davies is like, "Julian, you didn't bring your cymbals," and I was like, "Oh no," because I played cymbals on like 2 songs, and she was like, "But this girl got them for you, so you need to say thank you." I was like, "Oh my god."
there you go. There you
And
go.
then she really hurt because that was only for 8th graders.
Yep.
But a couple 7th graders stepped up,
I think I remember. Yeah.
and I just remember she was ragging on one of the percussionists from 7th grade.
I feel like I remember that.
And I was just like, why are you taking it out on my man over here? He's not even supposed to be here.
My man's playing above his grade.
Yeah, literally.
Just
Chill out.
trying to do everything he can.
And also shout out the Rough Riders game.
Yeah,
That was fun.
They got the Franklin sweatshirts and everything, and
VIP.
oh, dude, I forgot about that. That was fun.
Heck yeah.
Classic. So next up in the chaos of Franklin, we're gonna go over to gym class.
Crazy times.
I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll jump in with some of my stories. But I think as far as leadership and structure, Mr. Diers and Mrs. Schnell could not be further apart,
No.
the opposite direction.
They're opposite.
So I'm going to let you share some stories if you remember from Mr. Diers and what you guys did, and then I'll kind of give my Mrs. Schnell take. So go for it.
So Mr. Diers was like the most laid back person. I mean, he was so in our locker rooms, right? It was one male teacher, one female teacher.
Yep.
You had Miss Schnell.
Yep.
And I Mr. Diers, and so. I don't know what the girls' locker room was like, but in our locker room, Mr. Diers was kind of just chilling behind a like painted glass, but he could see everything we were doing in there. And he would just laugh. Like when we would just like mess each other up. Like we were literally stuffing people in lockers, like those small lockers. I think it's Michael Hansen, if you remember Michael Hansen.
Yeah.
We always try to put him in the locker, and it was a you know, he wanted to see if he could fit. It wasn't a bully situation.
Okay.
But Mr. Diers would just laugh. Like, he would just laugh at pretty much. There was a. I just remember at the beginning of class, it would be our class at one end of the gym and your class in the other.
Yeah, yep.
And Miss Schnell would have you guys in a line. You'd be doing workouts. We would just be like running around. James Ball's out here trying to dunk and stuff.
And I remember he could dunk
He
in like
could.
7th grade, I'm pretty sure.
That was one of the craziest things. That man had hops.
Oh my god.
Another thing that Mr. Diers would just laugh at, like, we played this one game called the Jaden game, and it's listen, it sounds like bullying, but I promise this was not. He was in on it. Pretty much, Jaden was trying to come and it was like tag, right? He was trying to tag me, and so we're running around this track, and they're just roughhousing my man Jaden, and he just keeps coming back for more. Like, he keeps coming to tag me. And so one of the funniest times is when we're running around the track outside, and there's a hill. Jonah slides up behind Jaden right as I'm about to get tagged. Then Ben pushes Jonah over him, tabletops him down the hill, and Mr. Diers just dies laughing and just looks away and walks away. And it was just like, Mr. Diers, thank you for being so cool. That he really didn't have a care like in the world. I would. It was pretty much every time we ran the mile, it was a bargain. You know, it was like, all right, Mr. Diers, for real, just like, what if I run around this once, and then you multiply that by 3, don't make me do the whole mile, like, you know what I'm saying? And now I don't know about now, but after we left, he became the wellness teacher.
I remember hearing that.
Which is a crazy thing.
No one would have ever guessed that was a possibility.
No. Because if you were to ask me, who should be the wellness teacher, Mr. Diers is like last on my list.
Yeah.
Just because he took things so smally serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Mrs. Schnell. And
the most feared.
Yeah, the most feared. There's not a lot of times when I got in trouble in middle school, but I got pretty close with Mrs. Schnell. I consider myself like a good behaving kid, even though I like to mess around sometimes.
Same.
But some stories I have with Mrs. Schnell. The lineup in our class is pretty legendary. We have me, Max, and Jared, and Romina, and like a couple other people that were just like going crazy.
Romina became she was playing on like the women's team, like the under-17 Chilean women's team as a goalie. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's impressive. But early memories I have is 6th grade, back when we had Zuhair. Zuhair was in our class. Shout out. We had like first trimester of 6th grade year, we ran the mile out there. And after that, we never ran the mile again because Miss Schnell like didn't believe in the mile or something. She like changed her philosophy of gym class or something. She's like,
no way.
We're not running the mile anymore. It's like, all right, I'm fine with that. But there was a day when Max and Jared and Zuhair were running around the gym trying to pants each other. And sometimes they were pretty successful at it.
Oh my God, what a terrible lineup.
So they were running around doing that. Miss Schnell saw them, and they got sent to the office, and they had to, I don't know if they got like sent home the rest of the day or something, but there was definitely at least a detention or something. But yeah, they were pantsing each other quite a bit, so that was tough.
Were they peer tapping at that time?
I feel like that might have been involved at some point. I don't specifically remember, but just middle school stuff, man. There was a day, so the way Miss Schnell's gym class worked on a typical day, we'd have like a in the gym activity, and then we'd have the fitness center. And she would
never went in there.
Oh yeah, we would always be in there doing like strict workouts and stuff. So she would split the class in half just based on like random whatever day it was. Some people would be doing the activity in the gym. Some people would be doing fitness center. And no one ever wanted to go in the fitness center because it's just like strict workout, whether you can mess around in the gym.
Exactly.
So there's a day when Miss Schnell is announcing the lineup, and Max is in the group that has to go in the fitness center, and he says, "Dang it!" And he takes his shoe and chucks it. He chucks his shoe into the bleachers of the gym, and Miss Schnell says, "Max, that's a lunch detention, and I already know you have one today, so that's going to be tomorrow." And Max says, "Miss Schnell, I have one tomorrow too."
No, what a punchline.
So he had to serve that like 2 days later because my man was stacked up on so many.
He was stacking up that detentions.
Oh my goodness. So that's another memory that was great.
That's so funny.
There was a time when we were running the pacer, And Max and Jared agreed to stop at 69 on the pacer.
Oh my God, let's go.
And they got all the way there and they stopped. And Miss Schnell, I don't think she said anything, but you could tell
You could tell she
was just like pissed off at him.
Yeah, because they could have got going.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And they just like stopped and just like put their hands up in the air. It was like, oh my God, dude. And then,
what did you get on the pacer?
I feel like I made it into the 70s at one point.
Nice.
I think I remember Ben getting in like the hundreds or something, but
Dude, he's a freaking
Ben's
nature.
just different, man.
He was trucking people heads down. Didn't care about his neck.
Did not care. The last one that I have on here, maybe I could think of more, but there was a day when Romina and I were put in the fitness center, and we decided to go on like the bikes where you're sitting down and biking instead of like everyone else was on either the treadmill or like the sitting up bikes.
Okay.
We were like the sitting like laying back bikes. Miss Schnell comes back at the end of class and she says, guys, that wasn't the intended workout for today. You got to come back into lunch a different day and redo the gym class.
Freaking way.
So we got in trouble because we did the wrong thing in the fitness center.
Bruh. She was doing too much.
Yep. And there was also written tests on like the muscle groups.
I remember you guys had those.
The muscle groups. We had to identify like the obliques and like different abdominal muscles and stuff.
Why do you need to know that?
I don't know, man. But she was trying to do too much. I feel like for middle school. Maybe if it was like a high school AP fitness or something.
Right. She had good intentions, but
yeah,
come on.
Yeah. I mean,
it's middle school.
But we had some great memories out of it. So, moving on. I don't remember if you were ever in any middle school sports. Did you go out for anything?
I was in football. In 7th grade.
Okay.
For 1 week.
Really?
Nano ruined my whole sports career.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember this.
I don't think I do.
So we're doing one-on-one drills like Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah.
And pretty much I get put against one of my best friends, Nathaniel Burke, who literally broke a kid's leg like the next year.
Oh.
Do you remember that? He broke a kid's leg during a game for Franklin.
Okay, maybe I have a faint memory of that.
Pretty much, he hit me so hard that I was laying on the ground, breathless, and started crying. And he knocked the wind out of me. I was literally crying, and 2 days later I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I talked to Mr. Bruni, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, this just isn't gonna work out for me.
Yeah.
And so Nano ruined my career. I got hit so hard. And they were testing me. They were really putting me to the test because they had me get hit by Nano. And then when they had us do lineman drills, I was up against Max Campbell. And I was like the shortest kid at school at the time.
Oh, jeez.
So they put me through the ringer. And they got me out of there. So cheers to that.
They were coming after you.
Yeah,
man.
for real.
They chose violence. I remember 7th grade doing Oklahoma drills, trying to see who was the most unstoppable force. And we had 2 groups going, and then they would take the winner from each group.
Oh,
and so
nice.
one line was Jacob Lynch.
Oh my god.
And then I think Jared ended up coming out from the other line, and it was 1-on-1, and Jacob Lynch absolutely destroyed 2 kids.
Right.
And then they lined him up against Jared, and he took down Jared, and he said, "Keep him coming, coach."
No way.
Yeah, my man was.
Jacob was huge.
Yeah, he was crazy. But there was one day I do vividly remember when they had Jacob Lynch at fullback, and they ran a fullback dive.
Oh, snap.
And Kenyatta got him, and Kenyatta tackled him and put him on his back.
Kenyatta was a sneaky demon, man. He was sneaky.
Shout out Kenny.
Shout out Kenyatta, man.
A lot of memories with him.
Mm-hmm.
He was also Franklin basketball. Were you ever basketball?
Didn't do. I wish I did. I really wish I did.
Okay.
But didn't do any sports in middle school.
Okay. Yeah, I think Kenyatta was B team. I remember Jacob Seabody always telling me the lineup for B team was him and Kenyatta and James and a couple other guys.
Nice. That sounds like a legendary lineup.
Yeah, but man.
I worked with Jacob Seabody past couple years.
Hawk Shop, right? Yeah, I remember seeing you there a couple times. Yeah, shout out. And he's teaching at Franklin now.
Yeah, dude.
Full circle, dude. Full circle.
I remember when he told me that, I was like, go both. They needed that.
Absolutely, my man. I think he's doing 6th and 7th grade social studies or something. So yeah, shout out to him, man.
More power.
Absolutely. All right, next up is going to be rap battles before school. I'm still confused as to why we get off the bus. Did you take a bus?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I walked.
Okay, cool. So for us that got on the bus, we would get there at a certain time and we would head up to school. And I still don't really know why they would make us stand outside and wait. I'm still confused.
Even in the cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when it was cold out.
I know. But we had to stand outside and wait for school to open until Mr. Baylor would give us the all clear or whatever. So we're messing around always doing something weird.
Yeah, we were.
I remember your little brother was always getting into this too, and Ben and a couple other guys. And we would start doing these rap battles. It was kind of like super hot fire type of deal. So everybody would gather around and start spitting bars and stuff.
No matter how dumb, the bars, the circle brought the energy, and then it was just.
Oh my goodness, man! And I remember I forget who your little brother was going against, but. He would call everybody Ben, regardless if it was Ben or not.
He called Scott Ben.
He'd be like, "Hey Ben."
Yeah, bro. Everybody was Ben. Everybody I knew was Ben.
Ben was like, "That's not Ben."
It was Scott. Scott was the main perpetrator because it wasn't until sophomore year of high school when Chris finally realized that was Scott and not Ben. And he was, I don't know what he had against Ben, but he was always coming for his neck at the rap battles. That's always who he directed it to.
Okay.
But that was funny.
Yeah, that was like the prime of early YouTube days, Super Hot Fire and all that good stuff, man.
Well, Mr. Baylor shut us down a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, do you remember that? There were times when the circle would get too heated and it was just too many people around, and I don't know, he just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Really, we were just having fun. We weren't doing anything wrong. If anything, we were becoming warmer because we're all packed into each other. But Mr. Baylor was like, stop that. Stop, guys. Stop, guys.
Too much of a crowd gathering.
Yeah,
there could be a fight
real.
or something, I guess. But
for real.
Never got to that. But that kind of brings me to the next thing I was going to say is just the friend group we had at Franklin. You have elementary, I feel like there was separate friend groups in my experience, and then in high school we kind of stuck to our own groups. But Franklin, everybody was just vibing with each other.
Everybody was friends.
Everybody knew each other. Everybody was just getting along, and it was just such a cool point in time.
It was.
Where we were just
It really was. I made so many lifelong friends from middle school.
Absolutely.
To this day, and then it was cool because. We all went to Franklin, and then we split off Kennedy Wash.
Yeah.
And then we most of us honestly came back to Iowa. I see you, I see Jonah, I see Jacob, and of course all my Wash friends. Everybody just reconvened at Iowa.
It's crazy, man. So many great friends there, and only having 3 years with you guys, and then through high school, always just I would see some people in sports, and I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's just great memories.
Heck yeah.
So. Anything other Franklin memories that we didn't get to that you want to bring up? I would say the Trickshot video.
The Trickshot video. The Trickshot video is definitely one of my biggest memories from middle school, just because I remember we had so much fun with that. It was me, you, and Ben.
Yep.
And you had a basketball court.
Yeah,
right?
half court in my backyard.
Yep, you had the half court. And pretty much the whole video was just you making trick shots and me and Ben goofing around. My favorite moment is Ben gathers us. He gathers us up for an interview. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Julian, interview time." And you're shooting a three. And some of your trick shots were just threes. They were just 3-pointers, but it was still whatever. It was a trick shot. Side note, that video was claimed by LMFAO because we used Sorry for Party Rocket.
Oh, no.
So any of the money that gets made out of that video goes right to LMFAO's pockets.
That's crazy. What a middle school song.
Right, exactly. And the ball would go in on the beat drop, that's Chris.
Oh, man.
But he asks me, he's like, "What's going on?" And I don't know, my answer didn't pertain to what he asked, but I just go, "Man, every time I shoot, every time I try to take a trick shot, Brandon just shows me up." And I was like, say that. And then you make your shot, you come over, and Ben goes, Brandon, interview time. And he's like, "What's your favorite sport?" And without hesitation, you say, "Triangles."
Triangles?
You're like, "Triangles." And he's like, "No, favorite sport." You're like, "Basketball." I was like, "Let's go."
Oh, no, dude.
So that trick shot video was great. Also in middle school, I think another way that you and I connected a lot was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
In middle school, we were on that Black Ops 2 grind.
Oh, dude.
It was me, you, Logan McGravy, Jonah Beeman, Caleb Christensen.
Yep.
Even though he didn't did he go to Franklin?
He did
go to
for
Franklin,
2 years maybe.
Yeah.
He joined late, I think.
Yep. Caleb Christensen was part of that, and man, the Black Ops 2 days,
Dude.
quick scope battles, zombies. We had Kennedy, Deco would join in.
Yeah, she had Xbox 360.
Yes, dude, we'd have so much fun. That was definitely one of our biggest connections was playing Black Ops 2.
Yeah, playing transit and like everybody hop on the bus and go take
Dude, the bus, heck yes.
Trying to hold off on the bus and everybody would be in a separate location and you couldn't revive somebody because they're down like across the map.
No, you're trying to pack a punch. It's like, do I get my pack a punch weapon or I pick you up? Like, I'm not about to buy quick revive for you, so I mean, sorry, you're gonna have to revive no gun,
dude. And then also, I want to shout out my man Austin Kucharski because we played Black Ops 1 all the time.
Really?
Dude.
Austin Kucharski?
Yeah,
shout out.
he was playing Call of Duty with me all the time.
He had a Black Ops 1 shirt. I
Really?
remember that. Yes. I didn't know you guys ever played with him.
Yeah.
I remember the Black Ops 1 shirt. So.
Dude, we would be grinding. We would be prestiging Black Ops 1 all the time.
Heck yes.
He was always in there, and he was always making fun of me he would call me X Space Brandonian Space
Yes,
X.
Red XX Space Brandonian. I remember now.
He would see me in school and be like X Space Brandonian Space X. I'd be like, bro, that's my gamer tag.
Bro, that's my gamer tag, bro. Leave it on the Xbox,
Dude,
I'm Brandon. I also remember I think I only went to your house twice.
Okay.
And both times, for some reason, they were giving the Heisman Award. It just so happened that both times that I was ever at your house, it was like the Heisman Award was being given away.
Really?
And so I specifically remember Marcus Mariota winning the Heisman.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember this, but I just remember that was the only 2 times I ever watched the Heisman Trophy get awarded was at your house.
That's funny.
And it was Marcus Mariota.
All right.
Yep.
Wow. I do not remember that, but I'm sure we would have had it on because that's always me and my brother would always be huge into football.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep, we had all the friends over and we definitely watched that. I remember that.
Oh man. So I kind of have a joke throw-in question here at the end of the Franklin conversation, but you might need some time to think. I might have an answer ready to go, but if we were going to play hide and seek in the entire Franklin school, what spot are you going to hide for hide and seek? And I'll give you some time to think. I'm going to share some of my answers.
Okay.
First one I thought of was, I don't know if you ever had her 7th grade language arts teacher, Mrs. Wilson. She had a room out off the edge of Franklin, outside her classroom that was like a greenhouse.
Oh,
and she had some bean bags in there and there was some plants growing and stuff.
Way.
And it was attached to the side of the building. It was a greenhouse.
I never knew about that.
And you could only have 2 people go in there at a time or something.
Oh my gosh.
So I remember me and Jacob Lynch just chilling in the bean bags and they were reading books during language arts. But that's such a cool place. I would probably barricade myself back in there.
I never knew about that place.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If anybody listening had Mrs. Wilson, maybe you remember the greenhouse. But
I mean, that would have been a good hiding spot because I never heard of that. I went there for 3 years.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to think. I would probably say I feel like there was a closet where they kept the balls for gym. And, if there's somebody unsuspecting, that would have been a good place.
Yeah.
Also, the stage.
Yeah.
The stage. Just hiding behind. Because I was in a couple musicals, and there were just some nooks and crannies that you could get into. So, behind the stage, behind the scenes. I think if I had to hide, it would be definitely somewhere in there.
Absolutely. One other spot I would probably have is, I think on the 4th floor, there was a packed room for Mrs. Sabenga or something.
Mrs. Sabenga.
And she would have the 4th floor, the stairs would stop, but you could go up another half a floor.
Oh, yeah.
And there would be a packed room in there. And we would come in there and work on extra work and stuff sometimes. But that's kind of an out of the way, unsuspecting room.
No,
so.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Those are my 2 places, but any Franklin listeners right now, you gotta hit us up with your hide and seek spots.
Yeah.
If we ever get control of the Franklin Middle School, get that to happen.
We already got the insider scoop. We got Jacob in there, so he can do some recon for us.
Oh man, we need to. So we go our separate ways. 8th grade ends. We go off to Kennedy. We go off to Wash.
Yep.
This is the time when. I always growing up. We all thought that Scott would come to Kennedy with us, and then he kind of made the last second and Wash, and you guys started that little friend group over there, and it was getting more into music and stuff, is what I'm understanding. So how did that kind of change as you started getting into Wash and everything?
It really was like all of my friends from middle school, pretty much, besides the Kennedy ones. We lost some good soldiers. We lost you. We lost Jonah, Matt Knox. We lost Ben.
Knox.
We lost Ben. That was the Kennedy. Logan McInerney. That was the Kennedy crew.
Absolutely.
And, we unfortunately lost y'all, but then. Our Washington group was me, Quinn, Nano, Ethan, and Scott, of course.
Yes.
And that was the Franklin sect that kind of joined together. That was our that was our defense against McKinley because McKinley also went to Wash.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just remember after Franklin beat McKinley in 8th grade.
At Kingston.
Yes,
dude.
at Kingston.
When Drew had like the 80-yard pick six,
bro.
That was like a monumental moment. They were crying in the handshake line.
Yeah.
Because of how important that game was.
That was an important game for both of y'all.
We lost to them 7th grade year.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we run this city, man. We're going to come get you guys again. We went Franklin undefeated. We beat them at Kingston. Let's go.
So I remember in 8th grade, we knew a bunch of the McKinley people who took classes at Wash, and I wasn't playing. I was not, in football as I stated, but it was fun to say, how'd that game go last night? And they were all very sad.
There you go.
For like the next day.
Yeah.
So pretty much that was just the Franklin kids sticking together as we went to Wash, and I think you are right. Like, one of the reasons why Scott went there is because the arts were so much of a bigger deal, I suppose, and just the music scene. The music scene kind of started there. I'll say it's growing in Iowa City, and I think it started in Cedar Rapids Wash. Seriously.
There you go.
Seriously.
Shout out to the OGs, man.
Shout out.
So let's see. You guys have like an actual band, like with a band name and everything, right?
So, freshman year of college, we started the resident band of Willie's Wacky Wiener Warehouse and Uncle Earl's Earwax Emporium.
Oh my goodness.
Whole long story as to why we came to that name. I'll shorten it up.
All right, cool.
There was a poster. Me and Scott are walking around downtown Iowa City. It's our first week as freshmen in college.
Yep.
And there's a crazy looking poster, and it says Butthead's Backwards Basement. Find a freak for the address. So our first thought is to go to this bar where there's a metal show, and the band is called Piss Exorcist. And the headliner was Piss Exorcist, and we went to Gabe's, and I was like, I had an anxiety, like, not an attack, but my heart rate was pumping because it was a scary. I don't know if you've been to Gabe's or the Upstairs.
I don't think so.
As a young man, that's my first bar ever going into, because they let 19-year-olds in for shows.
Okay.
We're pretty much up there, and we find a guy, and we're like, hey, did you hear about Butthead's Backwards Basement? He was the least freaky of all the freaks up there. And pretty much we're like, do you know about this? And he's like, oh yeah, I know Butthead. And so first dude we try, he gives us Butthead Backwards Basement address. We went there. It was one of the craziest, weirdest shows of all time, just in some dude's basement. And so we were like, we need to recreate this. So instead of a basement, we chose our dorm room.
There you go.
It was me and Quinn's dorm room. I'm Uncle Earl. Quinn is Wacky Willie. And that's how we formed the resident band of Willie's Wacky Wiener Warehouse and Uncle Earl's Earwax Emporium. We had our first show, Thanksgiving break, inside a small Courier dorm room.
Okay.
We fit guitars, bass, piano, and a drum set in this small room while everybody was away. And then we packed like 15 visitors in there. That was really fun. Just like, that was the first time that I'd ever performed in front of people in college, and that was just like, from there on, we started that band, and we played freshman through senior year.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's impressive, man. And you were still percussion for that?
No, I was a rapper.
Okay.
So the start of my rap career was in high school.
Okay.
And it was because there were people doing rap, and my dad's a rapper, and so that's kind of in my DNA. It's just something I can do, and something I love, really.
Yeah.
And there were people doing it, making SoundCloud. I don't know, were people at Kennedy doing SoundCloud stuff?
I bet there were some. I don't think I ever really came into contact with them very much.
Yep. So people were doing it at Wash, and I was like, man, I'm better than y'all. I'm just going to do this myself.
Okay.
And so in like freshman or sophomore year of high school, my high pitched voice. I remixed that popular Bobby Shmurda song. There's an expletive in the title, so I won't say it, but I remixed that, and that's kind of where my rap career started. Was kind of just me showing people, like, I'll just make fun of you and be better than you at rapping. It was kind of petty of me, but that's where that started. And then, so when we formed Wacky Willies, I was like, well, I want to get in on this, so let me rap. And so we became the rap rock fusion band of Iowa City.
Love it, man. That's so cool, because like now that I'm starting my podcast and stuff, I'm starting to see like just like getting into my creative stuff. So that's so cool that you guys.
How does it feel? How does getting into your creative stuff feel?
It feels good, man. It feels like you're able to just like unload. Yeah. You're able to unload all the thoughts and like experiences and stuff you have. So I'm enjoying it.
Well, you've been at it for a while though, because I was a big fan of your Hot Wheels YouTube series.
Dude,
I was a big fan of that.
I was a speed runner for a little bit. I speed run the game Hot Wheels Velocity X for a little bit. I had a world record at one point.
What?
Yeah, just for like a couple weeks. Weeks. Because the number one speed runner in that game was like inactive for a year or something. He just like hadn't submitted any runs or something. So I was like, oh, I can practice and try to beat that. I ended up beating his time by like 20 seconds or something.
Wow.
A couple months later, it's actually a funny story. I'm sitting in my dorm room with Jonah in Catlett. I refresh the leaderboards and I see the new time got submitted. I was like, no!
Were you second though?
Yeah, I was second. And Jonah was like, what happened? He thought like something terrible was like. I was like, bro, somebody beat my Hot Wheels Velocity X world record speed run. And he just starts cracking up.
That's devastating.
But yeah, man.
I remember you took that game, like when I was watching you do it, you like took it seriously. I was like, he knows this game. I've never heard of this game and he knows it. He's like getting world records and stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, and I had my, you probably remember my B-Flakes YouTube channel when I was in like elementary school. So I've kind of always had like a little creative side to me, but you know, it's just a matter of like outletting that in the right place.
And pushing yourself to not only like make yourself do it, but also just make yourself put it out in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of it. That's a big step.
Yeah, you gotta have the confidence and like you can't like get too concerned about other people like feedback and stuff. You just gotta be like, yep, this is what I'm doing. So
100%.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Both some creative people joining us today. So marketing, you're up to current day here at Iowa. You graduated marketing. What's the job you have right now? Like the job title specifically?
I'm a digital coordinator.
Okay.
At De Novo Marketing Agency.
Nice.
It's in the like Nubo district.
Okay.
You know where that is, right?
Yep.
So right next to the big Nubo building, there's the Cherry building, and we have a really cool space up there. It's an open area where pretty much like if I look to my right, I see my CEO like 2 desks down.
Wow.
Like, we're a small company. We all are collaborating throughout the day, and we do a ton of marketing for like Cedar Rapids based businesses, and you know, through that, like I'm noticing like we kind of have a big footprint in terms of there are these signs all across downtown Cedar Rapids, and we were the ones who like designed that stuff.
Okay.
And so it's really cool seeing, you know, me push these ads, and then I see the same ad on my phone. Like I'm actually like seeing the stuff that I'm doing get put to work.
That is cool.
So yeah, I'm the digital coordinator right now.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. That's cool. And just like I always see like ads everywhere, and I was just like, whatever. But if you get to see like, oh yeah, that's something I did, and you got the outreach going there, and people coming in, and that's got to be a rewarding experience.
It is, and I think way more people interact with ads than you think. I mean, just by the numbers that I see, because I actually see the numbers. Like I see this how many people click through.
Okay.
This how many people like. Even some of the attribution things, sometimes we'll see, you know, how much our ads are actually leading to revenue in terms of what people are purchasing just from clicking on our stuff. And you'd be surprised. I mean, even we'll run Spotify ads, and it only runs to people without the premium subscription, but that still reaches a heavy audience in Cedar Rapids and areas like that. So I mean, it's cool, and more people interact with ads than you'd think.
Yeah, and that's like part of the reason, like, for social media creators and stuff, like some people just like shut down their creativity before it even starts because like, oh, no one's gonna want this.
Exactly.
No one's gonna there's no market
Yeah.
for this. You put stuff out there and you gotta actually like try before you shut yourself down sometimes.
Exactly.
So.
And marketing you need to start with the word market. Like you need to find your market, find the people that you want to reach. What do they care about? What will like, because if you can start with 12 people who really like your stuff rather than like 30 people who are like, yeah, that's cool, they'll leave a like, but they're not into it, it's not going to be the same. You want to like the smallest viable audience is what they call it.
Okay.
And so if you find even a small amount of people who really like what you do and you push it to them, I mean, that's where you need to start.
Awesome. Well, this has been very fun, man. I think we covered almost everything there is to cover in this conversation. I'm going to give you the floor if you want to shout out some of your social medias, you want to shout out the band or anything you're working on, let the people know where they can find you, man. Go for it.
All right, well, I'll make the announcement here. I haven't told anybody, but I'm actually in the process of putting together a mixtape of songs that I've recorded with my friends over the past 4 years.
Nice.
And it's all just gonna get dropped on all of the sound like Spotify, Apple Music. Like I'm gonna put it up to all the platforms, and I'm really excited about that. Like I was saying to you, you kind of got to get over that hump of worrying about what people think.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I've got some vulgar lyrics on there. I've got some vulgar lyrics, some
Okay.
childish lyrics, but that's just like being a student of the rap game. That's what comes with it. And
True.
So I'm trying to get over that hump myself, and I'm trying to, within the next month, I want to upload that, get that put out, and I'll promote that on my Instagram and stuff.
Awesome.
My Instagram is at Julian Klepach. I'm sure my name will be spelled correctly in the title. You can just find me through that. But yeah, that's my shout out is, watch out for some music from me.
Dude, I will be linking it in the description. You guys got to check it out. If it's not uploaded yet, refresh it, come back the next day. You'll see it eventually, man. We'll throw some links down there, but Julian, man, it was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
It was a great conversation
pleasure.
today, and we're so thankful to have you on. If you ever
Thank
want,
you,
if
dude.
you ever want to come back in the
Thank
future,
you.
any new projects, something come
Thank
up,
you.
we'll have you back on
Sweet.
for sure, man.
Before we end this, can we talk about Iowa football? Can we talk about Iowa football for a second? Because last week was the first week. I know you care about football.
I was there.
You were at the game?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How did we
Oh my
We
God.
won. We won,
but our defense scored 4 points. Our special teams scored 3 points. Our offense scored 0 points. And we won.
I cheer for the punter.
Dude,
that's really
my
what it
man,
is.
Australian legend, Tory Taylor.
Tory Taylor, shout out.
He was Big Ten Punter of the Week, I believe.
He deserved that.
Yeah.
He deserved that.
We were chanting Tory, was it Tory for Heisman maybe? Or
Really?
no, we were chanting MVP for him.
Yes.
So,
I mean, he deserved
dude,
it.
absolutely, man.
Heck yeah.
But we got to figure it out if we're going to beat Iowa State because, I mean, South Dakota State, I mean, they're good, but like
on.
South Dakota State guys,
Put Padilla in.
we
I'll
want
say it.
Alex. We want Alex. Shout out, man. All right. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks,
Have a good day. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
What a great pleasure to have Julian on the podcast. Unfortunately, Iowa did not get it done against Iowa State. You might have been able to tell that was recorded a week ago, but now we're caught up to live time. We're going to break it down for you guys. We're going to find out what is cooking in each of the 4 categories. What's cooking in sports? I did not go to this game. Actually, this was the first Iowa home game that I had missed, not counting COVID year, obviously, since 2017. So this kind of felt weird watching the Hawks on my TV, but anyways, it turned out to be a pretty good game to not go to because Iowa offense wet the bed pretty much. We were not able to get anything going except for when we had great field position off of a blocked punt. Scored right away, opening quarter, opening drive, touchdown. Never sniffed the end zone ever again unless you want to bring up the fumble on the 1 yard line. Very unfortunate, but yeah, we got outplayed. And even though it wasn't really by much, but you could tell Iowa State's offense, they have that receiver, Hutchinson. They were able to kind of dink and dunk their way across the field on us for that 99-yard drive. And if you're able to put together a 99-yard drive against Iowa's defense, that's about enough That's all you need to do to beat us, because you know we're not going to score. This offense needs some work, and it's very disappointing. We had a 7-year streak going against Iowa State. I had a little ritual that I would post a picture of me and some friends on Instagram every year when we won, going back all the way to my sophomore year of high school. So I was looking forward to throwing up another post and celebrating, but all good things must come to an end. So we actually blocked 2 punts and forced 3 turnovers in this game and still found a way to end up with 7 points and a loss. I want to run the numbers on that and see if that's ever happened before. My guess is no. And it kind of feels like the season is lost already. It feels like all hope is down the drain. After seeing 2 weeks of our offense perform, I don't know if we really have a shot against the Big Ten coming up. I mean, it's Iowa, so you never really know what to expect, but it's just so disappointing compared to the previous years where we would start off on a win streak and we'd build up the hype heading into Big Ten time. Kinnick will be rocking. We have these ranked opponents come in and have a close game, but I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate that this year. And if you look around on the scoreboard across week 2, Big Ten, Rutgers put up 66 points in their game. Minnesota scored 62. Maryland, Purdue, Michigan scored 56. Michigan State scored 52. Penn State scored 46. Ohio State had 45. Nebraska had 42. Oh my goodness. These teams can score. We gotta figure something out here, because we're gonna run into other offenses that are better than Iowa State and that are better than South Dakota State. And then what happens? And I mean, red flags are ahead, guys. We might be in for some ugly ones if things don't change, but I don't want to overreact too much. It's still early. We're 1-1. There's a lot of season left to go. We got players that are injured that can come back. So not looking good right now, but then again, let's be patient. Let's see if we can get the ship turned around. And we gotta trust in Kirk. Kirk will get it going for us if all signs are pointing to positivity, which I hope they are. Other college football games going on. We had a ton of upsets this week. Alabama nearly lost. I was really hoping for Texas to pull off this one. Their quarterback, Ewers, got hurt, and then they threw in their second string and almost clutched it for the team, but Bama found a way to come back. Here's the upsets that are notable for this week in college football. You had Marshall upsetting Notre Dame. That's pretty crazy. Appalachian State beat Texas A&M. Washington State beat Wisconsin. Kentucky upset Florida. Georgia Southern beat Nebraska. And that actually got their coach fired, Scott Frost, no longer head coach. Pretty crazy. BYU also upset Baylor. And you remember, guys, Scott Frost at UCF, they had that undefeated season. They were the self-declared national champions. Bring them over in the Big Ten. Looks a little bit different now. You get a hold of a different program. It's a different culture there. It's a different organization. It doesn't really transfer over every time. It's a whole different beast coming over to the Big Ten instead of coaching UCF. So not sure what is in the future for Frost. Maybe he'll get a coordinator job somewhere. Maybe he'll get another head coach at a small school, but disappointing in his time at Nebraska, and they're going to be turning the page on him. We head over to the NFL, where thankfully I'm a Chargers fan, because the Chargers are pretty much the exact opposite team of Iowa football. We have a high-flying offense. We have a great athletic quarterback. We have a ton of weapons on the perimeter, but our special teams is pretty questionable. And that's pretty much the exact night and day from Iowa, where we're so limited on offense, but we have great special teams. So Chargers, Justin Herbert doing his thing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Austin Eckler, Mike Williams didn't really get involved too much, and it really didn't matter because we were throwing touchdowns to guys like Xander Horvath, DeAndre Carter, and Gerald Everett, 3 guys that were not on the team last year, so that's a good sign. The newcomers are showing out. Speaking of newcomers showing out, we head over to the defense. Khalil Mack. They said he was washed up. They said he was past his prime. I thought he was a bum, these guys. If you look around on social media, oh, Chargers, Khalil Mack is past his prime. Well, guess what, boys? 3 sacks and a forced fumble in week 1. Whoo-hoo! Khalil Mack is back. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The Mack attack is in full force. You better watch out. Nobody's safe. And just to make sure we get to the quarterback, we got Joey Bosa coming for you on the other side. Derwin James wreaking havoc. Whew! I'll tell you what, man. If we stay healthy, that's the golden question. Can we stay healthy? Because this team is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm excited to watch. Other NFL games going on this week. The Bears. Are you kidding me, Bears? In Soldier Field? In the pouring rain, in the swamp, and the floods? They were going around doing slip and slides after this one. They upset the 49ers. Oh, baby. Justin Fields getting it done. That defense holding the Niners to under 20 points. I believe they might have even had 10 points. I don't know. I'll have to go check. But wow, impressive win for the Bears. Their new GM, their new head coach, starting off right with a win there in Chicago. Hopefully they can keep it going. Vikings beat the Packers. That was a pretty convincing win. Rodgers had a tough game, but Rodgers had a tough game in week 1 last year. So is that sort of a trend that we might notice, and maybe he'll get better throughout the year? Who knows? And then the Monday night game this week, Seahawks-Broncos, the rematch of Russell Wilson versus his old team, came down to the wire. Then the Broncos made the interesting decision not to call timeout. They decided to milk the clock, kick the 64-yarder with McManus. Almost had it. It probably had the distance, just didn't have the aim. And now their coach is getting a lot of pressure from everyone. You should have called the timeout. You should have went for it with Russell Wilson. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I think calling the timeout would give you a chance to at least think it over there. Who knows? You live and you learn. Hopefully that coach can get it figured out going forward. Seemed like a classic Anthony Lynn move to kind of melt down in the last minute of a game, so I'm glad we don't have to deal with that anymore. Tennis. If anyone cares about tennis listening right now, here you go. U.S. Open just finished up. Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. This guy's 19 years old. He was born in 2003. Are you kidding me? He won the entire tournament, man. 19 years old. Just reached the world number 1 ranking after winning this. He won $2.6 million. He's young. He's got a huge forehand. My man was whacking that thing around. The ball was flying everywhere. He was in complete control. He got it done. Very impressive. I hope that he can become the next great star, because you got Federer, you got Djokovic, you got Nadal, the big 3. They're all starting to kind of head into the end of their careers, sort of. I guess Djokovic is still going strong, but the end is near for the big 3, so we want to see some new young guys taking their place. Love to see it. What's cooking in finance? The Consumer Price Index numbers were released this morning, and this is always a big reading, a big data point for investors. A lot of times they will react by buying more or selling more after seeing this. Supposedly, we are expected to have 8.1% inflation for this month, and the numbers came in at 8.3%, so it was more than we expected. And I don't really know what all goes into this, but it seems like it's always worse than we expected. Has it ever been better than we expected recently? I really doubt it. It's always just doom and gloom in the markets recently, and people seem to really react because it was a 0.2% difference in inflation. And then we go ahead and look at the stock market today. It had supposedly the worst day in the market since 2020. Stocks were absolutely obliterated today. You had the Dow and the Russell down over 3.9%, S&P down over 4.3%, NASDAQ down over 5.1%. My goodness, boys. For a 0.2% difference in our expectation of the CPI inflation, I don't really know if this is an overreaction or if this is a really bearish indicator. I'm trying to kind of take this in. It seems like an overreaction to me. I don't see why that small of a difference would be that big of an outrage, but man, I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging. I'm going to keep scooping up these discounts, and we'll check in long term later on and see if this was a good time to buy the dip or what's going on. But crypto also was taking a hit today. Had a huge drop off after this CPI came out. So crypto seems to be pretty correlated to stocks at this point, which is not really what we expect, because crypto, at least Bitcoin anyways, is supposed to have limited supply, and that will be a hedge against inflation. But right now, I don't know what to say, man. It seems to be mirroring the S&P lately. Not exactly, but pretty close. And I saw a tweet from one of the Winklevoss twins that was saying that's how you know that we're so early on in crypto, is because Bitcoin is not acting as like a hedge against inflation. It's kind of going along with it. So once we get further along, maybe we'll see that sort of take form like we're expecting. But for now, crypto's early. It's a great opportunity in my opinion. Prices are down, bear market, great time to get in. You don't have to buy a ton to get started. You can throw in whatever you're comfortable with, but I think you'll be thankful in the long run if you purchase a little Bitcoin, purchase a little Ethereum, store it away in some cold storage wallets, check back in 10 years and see what happened. That's probably a smart move in my opinion. So maybe I'll come back in the year 2032, revisit this and see if I was right or if I missed it by a ton. The Ethereum merge is happening on Thursday, supposedly. Supposed to help environmentally quite a bit. Supposed to help transaction speeds. So hopefully that'll be a bullish effect on Ethereum and the crypto market. We'll see. I'm expecting not much will happen in the short-term prices, but exciting to see this taking form. What's cooking in technology? Last week I was telling you guys the Apple event was just about to happen. Now we have a ton of more details about that since it has happened. iPhone 14 is the newest model. There's going to be a 14, and I believe there's a 14 Pro. There were, if you listen to last week's episode, there were a lot of the same old Apple typical updates. Slightly better battery life, slightly bigger screen. I think the top of the screen now is going to wrap around, like completely surround the front-facing camera. So that'll be interesting to see how that looks. The two new features that I thought were most important are the car crash detection. So supposedly iPhones are going to be able to notice if you've been in a car crash and kind of prompt you to call emergency services. And if you don't have cell reception, you're going to be able to connect to a satellite and call 911 that way. So that's really important. That'll be a huge help to people that are in that situation. Always glad to see taking more precautionary measures, helping people in emergency situations. That's going to be a great selling point. People want their safety and security. It's a top priority, so great job by Apple there. AirPods came out with a upgrade. There's going to be improved sound, which is pretty basic. Noise cancellation is going to be better, supposedly. I don't have noise-canceling AirPods, but I'm curious to know how well they work because that seems like a great combination. Longer battery life and a case with a built-in speaker, so a lot of upgrades there. We'll have to see what the reviews come in like that, but glad to hear it. Innovation, keep on going. Apple Watch Ultra is going to come in a titanium case. Whew! I don't know if I need a titanium case for my watch, but if you're hardcore, there you go. Supposedly it'll have a 60-hour battery life and better GPS. So the Apple Watch hardcore extreme athletes, there you go. Enjoy. There's going to be a new iOS update, iOS 16. You're going to be able to edit messages up to 15 minutes after you send them. You're going to be able to unsend messages up to 2 minutes after you send them. Wow, guys. Wow. That's big. I know Snapchat lets you delete and do that, some of that stuff, but that's big on iOS. You're going to be able to do that. I feel like Twitter should probably implement something like this. People have been asking for that for a long time. As long as you put a minute restriction on the end of it, I'm fine with it. But you don't want people going back and changing things from a long time ago. So I think Apple got it right here. You put a little minute restriction on there, and we'll see how the reviews come in, if that's working well or if they want to tweak it. Ton of other features in iOS 16. You guys got to look it up. I'm not going to share them all here, but very exciting. Apple is always pushing the envelope, so glad to see it. What's cooking in video games? There's a study that came out, guys. People who play video games tend to have superior sensorimotor decision-making skills. Ha ha ha. To all the parents growing up that told their kids, video games are bad for you, they will fry your brains. Where are you at right now? Sounds pretty quiet over there, huh? Video games. The study that they just conducted included 47 participants. These participants needed to play 5 or more hours of video games a week to be considered video game players, and any participant who played less than that was considered a non-video game player. And then they had the results, which showed differences in brain and behavior responses to decision-making between participants who were video game players and participants who were not. The video game players had increased accuracy in decision-making and decreased response time. In the brain regions associated with sensorimotor and cognitive processing, there were differences in activation between video game players and non-video game players, with video game players showing higher levels of signal change. There you go. Video games. Very beneficial, guys. They teach you strategic thinking. They have added benefits. It looks like improved response time, decision making. I don't know what to say. The moms, the dads, the parents, the guardians growing up who told you that video games are bad for you, they're real quiet right now. They don't have much to say. So turns out they might have been wrong all along. Who would have thought? All right, guys. That'll wrap it up for me. It was a pleasure to have Julian on. Great conversation going back to middle school. Always a good time hashing it out with the old friends. We're excited for his announcement and his new release coming soon, so make sure to check that out. I'll throw in a few links in the description where you can find him. We'll be back next week, as always. Next Wednesday, What's Cooking, we'll be back. Not sure on the exact guest or topic right now, but we'll find something to talk about, I'm sure. Have a good one, guys. You can find me at what's_cooking on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the description, check out the YouTube, check out the social media. That's going to do it for me. Have a good one. Peace.